Okay, well, hello once again, everyone. I'm Sandy from the beautiful Sunshine Coast, and I'm excited to be here and share with you. Just want to double check you can hear me okay. I think I heard some noise in the background. Don't know if that's someone else's, but anyway, sounds all clear now. Oh, you just said, Chantal, you're still on. You must have another something on. Now you're frozen. Okay, so basically, to give you my story in a nutshell, I have never considered myself a business person. I started making swim and gym wear way back decades ago because I couldn't buy nice leotards, and the Jane Fonda era had come around and I wanted to look, pretty hot. And all you could buy was those black leotards with black sleeves and low legs. And so I bought some Lycra and I started doing that. I started making swimwear. Suddenly I had a business because everyone was asking me to make it same stuff for them. And I found myself buying Lycra from a discount store, and I would sew all winter. And then over summer, I would find an empty store down by Mooloolaba Beach. I would open up, sell all my stuff, and have some nice play money. And that's exactly what it was. So when I married the boy that I'd met in high school, we went out for about 10 or 11 years. When I married him, I ended up using that money as our play money. So one year we put in a pool, another year we went on a holiday. Sometimes we did the landscaping around the house, but that money was our kind of play money. But suddenly, about 3 years after being married, actually probably 4 years, we split up. I had a 6-month-old and a daughter who was almost 3. And suddenly that play money had to become my complete income. Oh my gosh, that did not work. And I found myself getting further and further in debt. I ended up on welfare. So I actually had $100,000 overdraft. So I owed that to the bank, and I was getting from the government, it was around $7,500 a year in, I guess, Social Security, childcare payments or whatever they call it. What do they call it? Welfare, like whatever it is. I don't know what they call it these days, but it was $7,500 a year to live on in welfare. And it was so not a fun place to be. I was so stressed out, so I guess ashamed more than anything about my money situation, because I kind of thought the rest of the world had the money thing sorted and I was the only idiot who didn't know how to handle it, how to make it, how to keep it, how to do anything with it. And it was really not a fun place to be, but it was around that time that I also discovered the law of attraction. Now, who here knows about the law of attraction? Hand up. Oh, only a couple? Oh, no, all of you. Okay, cool. So basically the law of attraction, I discovered it back in, I think it was 1999, before it became a thing. And I loved it, I think more than anything, because it kind of took me away from where I was. So think about it. I'm $100,000 in debt. I'm on welfare. I have literally no money at all. Every single day I'm getting further and further in debt, getting further behind. And I discovered this thing that says, if you focus on what you want, you can manifest it. So even if the manifesting part wasn't real, because I'm a Gemini and half of me believes it all and the other half thinks it's a load of hogwash. I mean, now all of me believes it, but that's how I was back then. So I thought to myself, well, even if it doesn't work, it just felt so blissful spending time focusing on, because think about it, I'm $100,000 in debt. I'm renting a house that I can't afford, so I'm going backwards. I have a car that leaks so bad that it's growing a plant in the back seat after a bout of rain. So, things were not good. So just being able to think about having my own house and having my own space and being able to put paintings up on the wall without someone saying, no, you can't put a nail in the wall, or being able to decorate it the way I want, in the colors that I want, having space for my kids to run around, being able to buy a new car that didn't leak, that just was so reliable and went everywhere I want, whenever I wanted, being able to buy fresh flowers every week, or go to the gym, or go to meditation classes, or being able to go on a holiday, maybe, like spending my time thinking about those things rather than being $100,000 in debt and on welfare felt so good that I really dived into it. I just spent so much time And like Chantal says, you know, you've got to do it regularly. It's not about, oh, I learned this process. Maybe it's saying affirmations and I'll do them, and I do them this day, and then I forget for a couple of days, and then I do a few, and then I forget for a week, and then I do a few more. It's like you got to do it every single day. Just like if you want your business to grow, there are certain practical things you have to do every day to grow your business. Well, when it comes to using the law of attraction and to using the metaphysical to help your business grow, there are things you have to do every single day. Because think about it, the world is filled with so much crap and negativity and people telling you how things can't be done and everything's hard and the economy is going to the whatever. And it's like, you know, we get all these messages all the time about how bad everything is. So that all's going into your brain. And just like if you want your body to be nice and clean every day, you have to have a shower. Well, if you want your brain to be nice and clean and this beautiful foundation for you to be able to plant the seeds for what you want to manifest or attract or bring into your life, then every single day you have to do the processes, do the work, do the things that allow you to rewire your mind. And yes, this might all sound very woo-woo and out there, but honestly, we live in the best time possible. I was on a call a couple of months ago. It was a Clubhouse call, and it was, there was, what were they? Quantum physicists, like seriously. They speak an entirely different language. They speak in a language that my brain could not understand probably 90% of what they said. But somebody said something that blew me away, and he said, we live in a time right now where we are so lucky that everything that spirituality has been saying for centuries around mindset, but not necessarily in that way, but everything around mindset and energy and, you know, all that is now being validated by science. Science is catching up, and we're at this crossroads where spirituality and science are actually meeting and validating each other, which means that all those things that may previously have seemed a bit woo-woo and a bit out there, it's real, it's happening, it's a done thing. So I think we're really lucky that right now, oh, I hope you can't hear my dog barking. He is gone crazy. I don't know why. Pesto, sorry. Pesto, come here, baby. Come here.
That's okay. They used to Ziggy barking in the Monday.
Oh, good, good. Normally he's so quiet. That's why I left him in the room. But obviously, sometimes when someone comes to the door, he gets a bit crazy. So yeah, we live in this amazing time where, oh, can you hear me? Yes. We do live in an amazing time right now where science is validating a lot of the things that spirituality has you know, been teaching or trying to teach for centuries. So neuroscience combined with the law of attraction is really where the magic is. And I'm very much, as I said, very much a product of that, because I've allowed myself and been very blessed to go from welfare to millionaire. Not because I was some great business person, because I'm not. I still consider myself just a creative person who happens to have taken what I know and what I've done in my life and share it with other people, and they love it. Okay, so I feel really lucky that my creativity has created an income for me that's completely transformed my life. So being able to go from welfare to millionaire is, I can't even begin to tell you how delicious it is. Like going from that place of, you know, struggling every day, feeling weighted down by money worries every day, being in that place where you really have no choices. And I really felt like I had no freedom, to suddenly being in that position to be able to do all sorts of amazing things. Like I've been able to buy my dream home. I live on beautiful acreage on the Sunshine Coast. I've got a spring-fed dam, the ducks swim on, and I've got kangaroos grazing up the back there, and I've got a beautiful tropical pool and a barley hut, and I've been able to, well, not right now, but I have been able to previously travel wherever I want, you know, and that's the thing I love to do. I've been to 52 countries around the world. So travel for me is my thing. I'm not so much into jewelry and clothes. I wear pretty much the same thing every day, and I have no jewelry whatsoever, except a few beautiful, beautiful metaphysical type pieces. So, you know, for me, it's travel, it's experiences, it's being able to do things. And I've been able to do that. Like I've taken my kids and we trekked the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu, and we flew by helicopter over where they filmed Jurassic Park, those huge big mountains, and we, what else do? We climbed Everest and Kilimanjaro, and I took my daughter on a shopping spree, but instead of just down to the local mall, took her over to New York, which she loved, and took her on a Sex and the City tour because she used to watch Carrie and all the girls. And so, you know, being able to do things like that, just, you know, I just love the freedom that abundance gives me. And so it's my absolute passion to be able to share my story with others and inspire others, and let them know that, you know, you don't need to have any special skills. Like, because I want you to understand, I dropped out of school in grade 11. So I didn't even finish high school, okay? I had no real skills. I had absolutely no connections. I had no one that had any money. Like, I had to do this basically just using the law of attraction. And I think the thing that really changed everything for me, which is what I teach all my students, it's never just about the mind. It's never just about thinking. That is part of the equation. So when it comes to manifesting, I always teach my students, it's all about body, mind, and spirit. All right. It's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. You're not going to sit around and meditate and expect $1 million to drop into your lap, because it's not going to happen. All right. And you can't just feel rich all the time, but then think about how you've got all your bills and then not take any action. Well, you can't just be taking action, because a lot of people do create some semblance of success by just taking action. But if your mindset isn't in the right place and your feelings aren't in the right place, then what happens is all that action, you might create something, but then it self-sabotages, or it goes away, or it doesn't work. So it really is a matter of aligning body, mind, and spirit. It really is about getting your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all lined up with what it is you want to create. So if you're wanting to create a successful business, what are you thinking about when it comes to your business? You've got to be thinking about how much money you want to make, and imagining that's already happened, and feeling as if it's already happened, and getting excited about that. And then what actions are you taking toward making that happen? Like, you've got to align the three. And when you do that, absolute magic can happen. And it's happened over and over again for me. I remember the very first online course that I ever created made me, in the first 4 or 5 months, made me something like just under $2 million. That's the first online course. This was back in 2004, I think it was. And so it was because I totally was embracing the law of attraction. I just spent so much time, as I said before, thinking, feeling, getting into that, and taking action. And when all that combined, the universe can like create absolute miracles. And, you know, that's one of the things that I teach my students all the time, that miracles can be created. You will scratch your head and go, how did that happen? But it's you putting your thoughts into the quantum field and then feeling like it's already happened, because thoughts send the order out and feelings attract it back to you. And then the action is what allows you to actually receive it. So in the book that inspired the movie The Secret, which I think that came out in about 2006, I think it was, or 7, around then. But the book that inspired that movie, which was The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, which was written, I don't know, over 100 years ago, very old language, but there's one sentence in there that I love. And he says, by thought, the thing you desire is brought to you, but by action, you receive it. So that's why we can't be sitting around meditating, expecting everything to drop into our lap. We've got to take action. And so, you know, I've done it over and over again, and absolute miracles can happen. Let me give you just one little example. So, yep, of course, when I launched my first online program, you know, made a few million there. That was great. Then when The Secret came out, you couldn't buy it in Australia. Don't know if anyone remembers. You couldn't buy it in Australia to start with, because there was some sort of agreement that until The Secret aired on TV, they weren't allowed to sell it in Australia. Even though Rhonda Byrne, who's the producer, was Australian, they weren't allowed to. I think they had some sort of backing from you know, someone to do with the TV, you know, sort of station, and so there was this agreement. Anyway, I really wanted to see it because I just felt, I hadn't seen it. I saw a trailer, didn't say anything about the law of attraction, didn't sort of know what it was about exactly, but I just felt like it was so in alignment with what I did. So I sent an email to the secret website and said, I love what you're doing. I think it's going to transform the planet. You're going to just touch millions of people. I would love to send you a gift. And I got an email back from Rhonda Byrne, the actual producer of The Secret. She said, I don't know how I got your email. We get so many. Somehow yours came to me. And yes, I'd love a present. So I sent her my book, How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast. And I also sent her my home study course, which was in a binder at the time, all printed out, Millionaire Mindset. And she emailed me back after she got these. She was in the US at the time. She emailed me back and said, did you watch The Secret and then write your book? I said, I haven't even seen The Secret. No, my book's been out for a while now. And she said, it's so in alignment. She said, it's amazing. Anyway, they ended up, and this didn't pan out completely, but they ended up filming me for an entire day. They were taking someone out of The Secret. They were going to put me in her place. But they ended up using the two women that were already in there and expanded their role out of it. So for those of you that aren't aware, there is a secret that has Esther Hicks in it, who is very well known for the law of attraction. And then there's a secret without her. And that was the one that I was going to be in. But anyway, I didn't end up being in it. But what happened, even though The Secret had already been out for months and months and months and months, and they were selling it, they, as I said, they decided to pull her out and put, and only because there was something where they didn't want to be in something that was being sold, because it was the whole idea of The Secret initially was that movie was going to be released all around the world on TV at the same time. Try managing that schedule. So it didn't happen. So anyway, what happened was I said to her, look, I don't understand why you can't sell it in Australia. No, we have an agreement that until it airs on TV, we are not allowed to show it. We're not allowed to sell it to Australia. And I said, well, can't someone else sell it to Australia? She said, sure, but we can't. I said, well, I've got a US company. Could my US company buy it and then import it and sell it in Australia? She said, sure. Now that one idea, see, this is why I'm so big on action. Yes, it's all about mindset, it's all about feeling, but it's all about action. That one action that I took, sending that email and then asking her, why can't we sell it in Australia? She said, yes, I started importing. That one idea alone made me about $3 million in less than about 8 months. Now, how many other people in America or even in Australia had a US company that could have done the same thing, but didn't take action? Maybe thought, oh, I wish I could sell that. Oh, I don't know what to do. Did I know anything about importing DVDs and the freighting from another country and distribution about Australia? Zero, knew nothing. But I said, I'll do it. And I did. And so, as I said, that's why I'm a really big believer in aligning body, mind, and spirits, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, because your actions are what allow the magic to happen. If you're feeling the right feelings, thinking the right thoughts, and then taking action, what happens is that becomes inspired action, and magic can happen from inspired action. So, these sorts of things have happened to me over and over again, things that I would never in a million years have dreamed up. Like when I sent my email to Rhonda, there was no part of me that thought, I'm going to make millions out of this email. Like all I was doing was saying, I think what you're doing is great. Here's a gift. And from there, I ended up making millions. So what I do is continue to put into place all the processes that I teach. I continue to align my body, mind, and spirit. The thing I love most of all is inspiring other people all around the world to do the same, because, as Chantal said, things happen and you just kind of, you go, how did that happen? But it's the way the universe works. You plant the seeds in the quantum field. Everything is energy, and we get to create the way that we want if we line everything up, if we line our body, mind, and spirit up. Because then the seeds that were planted in the quantum field, the universe has a gazillion ways to bring you your dreams, to bring you your desires, to bring you what you want to manifest, to bring you the things that make your heart sing. The universe has a gazillion ways. Your logical brain has about this much ideas of how it'll come, and the universe has this much ideas of how it's going to come. So the universe can figure out a way that you have no idea how the abundance that you're seeking will come. So you might think it only might come through a job or a certain part of your business, or, you know, you've got this limited thinking about how it'll come. But if you just continue to align body, mind, and spirit and be open to possibilities and take inspired action, then the universe will figure out a way to make it happen. The universe is there to support you. The universe wants far more for you than you could ever want for yourself. So hopefully that's a bit of inspiration to get you to understand that. Thank you.
That is so
that
super
anything is
awesome.
possible.
Well, so I'm going to challenge Sandy. So I'm going to say, like, for when I started, okay, I'm a control freak, absolute control freak. I want to control absolutely everything. So this is why possibly it was, you know, really going to challenge me, because firstly, I want to control everything. So I don't have a problem with taking action. I was taking too much action. That's why I knew that I was just going to run out of steam unless I tried to, you know, get the universe involved with everything, because I was going to kill myself. It was just so hard. So for me, it was a little bit different. But so control for me was one issue, like letting go of that control and having faith and trusting in the fact that the universe is going to provide by you sitting there doing nothing. For me, it was like this. I was like, I'm doing nothing. I'm believing it's all going to happen. But I believe that it's like, and everyone here knows me, you know, they know me to be like that. But this is why for me, I treated it like an exercise, like going to the gym. It's something that you've got to take the time out every single day to strengthen that muscle, to strengthen that willpower muscle, to strengthen the belief, so that you're not just thinking that you're going to think about believing that it's going to happen, but you actually start to change some of your innate beliefs. The other part of it is scarcity mindset or fear. Now that for me was huge. And I think that is, you know, your ingrained money stories that you have and things that have been told to you, you know, through, you know, upbringing or what you've heard in the background or all that stuff. It's like, oh, that's why I think like that. For me, it was always a case of, my mom told me in South Africa, like, if ever you stop working, you'll run out of money. So my mom did nothing. All she did was work her ass off from morning till night, did not play with the children, did not do anything, because she was so like on a tangent. So like, I have some of that in me. But you know, I also have to acknowledge it. So the point I want to get here with the scarcity mindset and the fear is, firstly, I want to acknowledge that we all have it. We all have a money story, and we all have this fear mindset, and we all have these little things that come, you know, I always think of an angel and a devil on my shoulder, which is like the angel's going, no, but you be abundant and you just go for a walk and think about getting it and it will come. And the little devil's going, no, work your ass off, else you're going to lose everything, you know? And so I completely get it, but we've got to train the other part of it. And we've got to train it. Well, first acknowledge. The same thing when you walk into Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, they stand up and go, I'm an alcoholic. The first thing is acknowledge and take responsibility for it, and then go, right, now what am I going to do about it? And that is why I absolutely love the book, because there are some practices in there. I'll go through some of the practices that I like, and maybe Sandy could talk a little bit about what it is. But one of the ones that I really liked was creating the space for success. And some of you have heard me talk about it and refer to Sandy's program. Because if you are in amongst chaos, and your desk is chaotic and your desktop is chaotic, your computer's full and everything's crazy, it's going to be really hard for you not to be overwhelmed and to actually create something magnificent. So I'll start with that one and see if Sandy wants to add anything to that.
Yeah, sure. And this is the thing, though, when it comes to, I guess, decluttering, the universe loves having a space to fill. So if there's any vacuum, the universe will fill it. So that's why decluttering is on a physical level is a great thing to do. So decluttering should be done regularly, like, and as Chantal says, in your physical environment. But in my advanced programs, I go into additional decluttering, like decluttering the mind, decluttering the emotions. Because if your mind is filled with thoughts that aren't serving you, then it's almost like, and if your feelings are filled with negativity or filled with resentment or jealousy or whatever, what happens is when you plant the seeds for what you want, it's like planting them into a weedy garden bed. You want to pull all those weeds out. You want to pull all those negative thoughts out. You want to declutter your body, mind, and spirit. So you've got this beautiful foundation to plant the seeds for exactly what you want, and they'll grow so much quicker. You'll attract so much faster. So yeah, decluttering and not just on a physical level, but body, mind, and spirit is really powerful. But decluttering on that physical level is a great first step, because I don't care who you are, unless you're some sort of neat freak. Everyone's got clutter. Even if you can't see the clutter, even if you're one of these people that in your environment, it looks clean, what about opening every single drawer and every single cupboard and seeing what's in there? Because even if you can't see it, if you know it's there, that is actually causing clutter in your mind, because energetically, you know it's there, even if you're not watching it and seeing it every day. So decluttering is all about not just on a surface level, but in every drawer, under every bed, in every cupboard, behind every door, like it's everything. So, and the great thing about decluttering is you can also take the things that you may potentially not want anymore and start to create a little stream of abundance from that. Put it on Facebook Marketplace, put it on Gumtree, put it on wherever you can sell it. Have a garage sale, have a yard sale, like sell it off, and know that the money that you generate from that, depending on where you are right now financially, you might take that money, and if you've got some debt, pay down some debt, because honestly, debt, credit cards, any sort of debt, you're paying interest, usually interest on interest, and it just grows and you'll never get a hold of it. So take that money and put it on your debt. Or if you don't have any debt, take that money and maybe invest it into a course or a program that's going to advance you, that's going to take you further. So just that very first step of physical decluttering can make such a huge difference. So yeah, great point, Chantal.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I was so annoyed when I read that in the book, because I was like, damn it, I've said I'm going to do an hour a week of whatever she tells me to do. And I got to this thing and I was like, here I am wanting to make, I think for the Fit Hub, it was $1,000 a week. I need to make $1,000 a week. She's telling me to go clean my house. Like, I was so annoyed, but I did it. And actually with the second course that I did, when I was manifesting $8,000 a week, and I actually need to tell everyone, I ended up getting around $16,000 to $20,000 each week of the program. So I exceeded that. And it's just from following the principles. But I'm very good at, I'm very coachable. So I follow principles. But yeah, one of the things we did with the second time that I did it is I kept looking at my couches, and my couches were so ugly and gross, but I didn't want to replace my couches because my dog always sits on the couch. Okay. Yes, I love my dog. He's medium sized. He sits on the couch. So I was like, I don't want to replace it because, why spend a fortune on it? And I read this and I was like, you know what, it doesn't make me happy. So I'm getting rid of the couches. So I told Sandy, my partner, Sandy, that's it. We're putting them out on the road. And he goes, but we don't have any couches. I said, I don't care. We'll sit on the floor. I'm getting rid of these. There's other couches that are coming better than this, and we're not going to buy them brand new. So we put them out on the road. We sold them. And the very next morning, I was looking at Marketplace, and there was somebody selling a black lounge suite, and my dog's black. So he leaves black hair everywhere. And it was something like $300 for the lounge suite, a 2-seater and a 3-seater. And they were like, nobody's bought it. We're moving today. Someone come and pick it up. You can have it for $50. And I was like, and I went, there's our couches. And we still got them. So.
Yeah. And that's it. The universe abhors a vacuum. It just needs to fill it. So when you get rid of all the clutter and all the things that you don't need or use, because I remember I had a pasta maker for probably 15 years. Have I ever made pasta in my life? No. One of those pasta machines, you crank stuff out. And it's like, I kept keeping it, thinking I'm going to use it one day. But once I really embraced the whole concept of decluttering as a ways and means for the universe to actually bring me more abundance, I started decluttering like crazy. And I now very much am, I wouldn't say I'm a minimalist, because if you walked into my house, I've got a very eclectic style, and I have things from all over the world. I love to have the things that I've sort of amassed on my travels. But I don't buy anything. Like I don't buy anything at all that, like, I literally don't spend any money now that I can't travel. I've got everything I need. So I don't spend money on stuff. So I'm not cluttering things up. However, I have to say, my daughter has just moved to Italy, and she had a 3-bedroom house, put most of it in storage, didn't all fit. So I've got a garage full of her stuff, which I've got to try and deal with because it's making me feel cluttered. So that's all going to go on a Facebook Marketplace. So, but I mean, the thing is, no matter what, you've got to look at every room in your house. You've got to look not just at your physical environment, you've got to look at your body, mind, and spirit, and see what you can let go of, see what you can just release, see what you can just clear out so that you make space, make room for that abundance to appear.
Now, because I said I was going to challenge you today because I love challenging people. So one of the other things that I was so annoyed with this program was that one of the things was to like vision what you have. You know, when people say to you, oh, vision how you're going to be in a year and 3 years and 5 years, there is no way in hell like I can envision how far away that is. I don't, because I just go and I just trust and I just go. That's how I am. And I've always been that way. I could never say, you know, in 2015, when I opened up my health, wellness and fitness center, that this is what I'd be doing now. There's no way that would even be on the goal sheet. So I don't even like waste my time doing, you know, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. I just don't do it. So, you know, when I was listening to Sandy's stuff and I was getting ready to buy my house, I was so irritated, and Rachel from Less Pest, she was involved in this because they were doing our pest control. I found this unit. I was like, this is the unit. This must be the unit. And I was fighting nail and tooth, going backwards and forwards with the real estate agent, trying to make this damn house happen. And it just was not happening. It was like 2 months, 3 months, arguing backwards and forwards. It's just not happening. And I was like, but this is supposed to be my house. I'm making it happen. I'm acting. I'm doing everything I need to do. And I just couldn't get it. I was so annoyed and so stressed. And then the next minute from there, you know, the next minute we didn't get it, went to a show house. That house fell through as well. I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Falling through. And both times actually we had a yes, and then they fell through. So I drank champagne there and then it was a no, drank champagne there and then it was a no. And then the lady said to me, Shame, you've really been through a bad time. One's just fallen through across the road. I'll take you to that one. And that's the house that I have now. And in between that time, we went away camping, and I was so annoyed we were going camping when we should have been looking for houses. And we went camping, and while we were there was one of our friends had a friend there who was a commercial real estate agent, and he sat down, and my mortgage broker had said, Chantal, you cannot go over 420,000. Do not go over 420,000. And he said to me, look, anything under 420 and you're going to be getting a dog box. Like, it's going to cost you so much to do. Don't listen to the mortgage broker. Just like, if it's whatever it is, just try. The worst that can happen is the bank will say no, right? And if I hadn't had that conversation there, it wouldn't have prepared me for the conversation that I had at the house. And there people fell through. So I ended up getting that house, and it was easily and effortlessly and just fell into place. And the house was 435. But I would never have, if I hadn't had that conversation, I would never have gambled and gone 435, which I can afford, and the bank approved. So, and it's right by the water. But one of the things that kept coming was, you know, envisage what it's going to look like. And I couldn't envisage what my house would look like. You know, I just wanted to be on a bus route for the kids. I wanted to be really easy. And Ziggy has to have a run. So it's got to be near like a run. And I love water and Sandy loves water. So, you know, it must just be around those things. And I love sunrises and sunsets. And Trues Bob, this house has all of that. It's right on the lake. I watch the sunrise over the beach. I've got the sun goes down over the lake. You know, it's right on the water, and the bus stop's right outside. So it's just funny how the reason I'm saying that is, if you can't envisage, like, you know, some people envisage all these amazing things. I can't do that. But all I did was focus on the feeling, which is what Sandy was talking about, the feeling of the things that you like and you enjoy. And I kept going, I really enjoy this. And I suppose gratitude comes into this, just acknowledging what you're grateful for and what you like. And then that, you know, that was delivered from the universe, which is awesome.
Yeah. And that's a perfect example of, you know, I tell my students the same thing. You want to see what it is that you want to manifest, but not necessarily the thing. So when I say see, for me personally, when I was $100,000 in debt and on welfare, I didn't know exactly how I wanted my life to be. Like, I didn't know what business or job I wanted, or what exact house I wanted to live in, or any of those things. I just knew I wanted to be a millionaire. And I just knew that when I was a millionaire, I would feel so free and so light, and I would have so many choices, and it just made me feel so amazing. So you don't need to know all the specifics. You can just focus on the end result, because what happens is sometimes when you're told to focus on what you want, you get so kind of caught up and hung up on what it has to be, and And I remember at one stage thinking, oh, well, I want a house with a view of the ocean. But then my mind's saying, well, how are you ever going to be able to afford a house with a view of the ocean? And then I lived on an island, and on the island across the river, there was all these houses. And in the house that I lived in, it was a multi-million-dollar house. I really didn't enjoy it because the house was very sterile looking. It had a pantry the size of, I don't know, just a shoebox. It was so tiny. The walk-in robe wasn't really a walk-in robe. You opened the door and you could take half a step, and that was the robe. And there was no privacy because everyone was right across the river. And there was only one tiny square of grass with one tiny little tree. And I just thought to myself, oh, what do I really want? I want space. I want privacy. I'm such an introvert that my privacy needs to be not just, kind of away from people, but just so I can't even see another house. So I want to have space, and I want trees, and I want birds, and I want wildlife, and I want color, and I want to have a beautiful pool, and I want to have like all these things. I want a big walk-in robe, and I want a big pantry, and but I didn't know exactly how that all fitted together. I just knew what I didn't want. And that's why that contrast, knowing what you don't want, is so helpful. So instead of being in that house and thinking, oh, I hate this kitchen. Oh, I hate this pantry. Oh, I hate this walk-in robe. I hate how people over the river can see me. Instead of that, it just made me think, oh, I know what I really want. This is what I really want. I really want the space. I really want the privacy. I really want. And I focused on what I wanted instead of what I had. And, third world problems. I'm living in a multi-million-dollar house and it wasn't my dream. But, what I'm saying is, whenever you experience something that isn't the way you want, just imagine what it is that you do want. Imagine the opposite. And then what happens? The secret thing happened, and suddenly I had millions of dollars to buy my ideal house, and the initial thing I was going to build. But the whole idea of building and finding a block and a builder and the whole blah, was too much. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just buy. So the real estate showed me a couple of houses, and they were just normal little everyday houses in the suburbs. And it was like, oh, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And then one day she rang me up and said, I've got a house. It's a bit left of field. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's this address. And I drove up the street. I stopped in front of the house. As I drove past, I could see down in the backyard, I could see kangaroos around a dam. I got out of the house, I walked down the steps, I see these big, huge, like Moroccan looking doors, wooden doors opened up, and through the doors, I could see these big, huge beams. And then I could see out the back, and there's this huge acreage. And my house is like exactly, not the house itself, but the things that I envisioned are exactly that I wanted. I have a walk-in robe. Not that I have that many clothes, but I've got a walk-in robe that is the size of a room. I've got a pantry that is enormous. I have got wildlife and trees, and I've got a spring-fed dam, and I have up to 17 kangaroos grazing on my grass in the backyard. I've got ducks. I've got the whole works. I've got everything that was the opposite of what I didn't enjoy in the house that I was living in, without having to actually picture the actual house. I just noticed what I didn't like, not putting any energy there, but thought, well, what do I want? And focused on the opposite. And when that's all you need to do. So you don't have to be very specific when it comes to visualization and envisioning what you want. You just have to get clear when something shows up in your life that you don't want. What's the opposite? What is the thing that you do want? And just focus on those things, and the universe will create its magic. And the really cool thing is, I have got a book, I've still got it to this day, that's got all these pictures of things, just pictures that I saw in magazines, pictures of trees and pictures of this and pictures of that. And I went through my house and took all these pictures. And as I'm taking the pictures, I put them all together, how you've got them on file on your computer. I'm starting looking through them thinking, oh my gosh, that kind of looks familiar. I pulled out this old photo album that I put all these cuttings from magazines. And I tell you, it is mind-blowing. There's a picture of a yellow wall that has sort of yucca plants in front of it. I took a picture exactly the same at my house. There's a picture of a bedroom with an Indian type mirror and blue shutters. My house, I hate blue shutters, but my house has blue shutters in the bedroom with an Indian mirror. It's like I took a picture in the lounge room looking across, and the picture was the same as this magazine. The magazine had a table with a little sort of cactusy plant on it, which I had. It had a lounge with some sort of, what do you call it, Indian type cushions. Mine was the same. It had two big wooden beams. Mine had two big wooden beams. It had a big black chandelier type thing. Mine had a big black chandelier. It was like, oh my God, these pictures out of different houses, different scenarios that I'd put into this folder were almost exactly the same as the pictures that I'd taken in my house that I manifested. So just know that you don't have to know all the details. You just have to get clear on what makes your heart sing and what you truly want and what will make you just feel so happy and so grateful. The universe will figure out the details. So I walked into this house on a Wednesday. I bought it on a Thursday. And the funny thing was, the people who built this house, they both worked way out west in an RSL behind the bar. They used to play Keno, you know, play all the slot machines, do whatever. One night they played Keno and won $2 million. They came back to the coast. The lady next door was selling half her land. She cut her land in half. They bought this land. They saw a picture in a magazine. They built this house. They were in it for years. Their kids moved out of home. They wanted to sell. They had it on and off, on and off, on and off the market. Every time someone came up to buy it, they'd take it off the market again, decide they wouldn't sell. They'd put it on the market again. Someone had come to buy. They'd decide, no, we don't want to sell. And then I came along. Wednesday said, I want it. Thursday, I bought it. It's like the universe is just waiting for you to line up your body, mind, and spirit, align your energy with what it is you desire. Just get clear on what makes your heart sing. The universe will figure out all the tricky details. You don't have to be the one that controls it all. You don't have to be the one that puts it all into place. You just have to know what you want and line up your energy, and the universe will create miracles.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you. And, you know, a really good example of that is if you went to go and buy a dress, okay, Jim and Daryl, yes, you too. You're going to go buy a dress and you go to the website and you just say, I want a dress. Well, guess what? Anything can come because you haven't specified size, you haven't specified color, you haven't specified style, you have not been specific about it. So if you start getting little bits of things, like still show gratitude for it, but perhaps you need to look at how much, you know, how clear it is on what it is that you want. So that clarity is really important. Now, that doesn't mean go and do more. It actually means do less. It means, you know, for me, you know, because I've read the book Atomic Habits, he talks about double stacking. For me, when I walk, that's when I do it. I think Sandy does a lot of her stuff as well when you're walking. So when I walk, I go through and I go, what am I really grateful for? What am I really looking for? What am I really? So I ask myself a series of questions to get myself thinking about what it is that I really, really want. And I do it when I'm not bothered by the children or anyone else around me. You know, just when I'm walking, I just start to think about those things, but I take the time to do that. And I factor that time into my day to do that because it's an important part of it. And you can't do it while you're in the doing. You just can't. It's just a mixed message that seems to come from that.
Yeah, you have to find the time. You definitely have to find the time. And like Chantal said, I use my time. So I get it every morning, and no matter what, no matter how I feel, I make sure I walk the dog, because that's just what you do. Because did you know that a dog, you don't walk a dog for the exercise, you walk a dog because walking for a dog is their form of meditation. It chills them out, calms them out, brings them back into this beautiful space. So that's why you walk a dog, not for exercise, because it's their meditation, their form of meditation. All that sniffing and all that looking around, that's their meditation. So my whole thing is I have to walk the dog. So the drive down to the beach, on my phone, I have in my voice memos, I'm always creating little affirmations, series of affirmations or declarations or things I'm grateful for, like Chantal said, or putting together all sorts of things that I can listen to. So on my drive to the beach, I'm listening to something and I'm usually affirming out loud, because your words have power, your words have a vibration, and I love to send them out to the universe. And then when I'm going along the beach, the same thing. I'm listening, I'm affirming, I'm saying something. I'm using that time, just like Chantal said, double stacking. I was going to walk anyway, and yes, I'm taking in the beautiful scenery. I'm feeling grateful for my walk with the dog, but I'm also doing things that plant the seed for me to create a life that I truly love, for me to create that life that allows me to do all the things that make my heart sing. And by doing that, I then inspire other people. And by inspiring other people, I'm changing their lives. And we just create this beautiful ripple effect all around the world where so many people's lives get to change, get to transform, get to basically do the things that you've always wanted to, experience the things you've always wanted to, have the things that you've always wanted to, because the bottom line is the universe wants far more for you than you could ever want for yourself. So you don't want to ever feel like you're being greedy or you're taking more than you should, or, you know, any of those thoughts are just silly, because you are on this planet, on this earth. You have been put here for a reason. And not to get too metaphysical, but the universe is expressing itself through you. So the more that you have and experience and enjoy, the more the universe does. So, you know, think big, dream really grand, because as I said, the universe wants more for you than you could ever want for yourself.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. One of the things I noticed as well is once you start training that muscle, you know, you said, you know, you plant the seed, well, you've got to water that seed, right? So that it grows, and you've got to water that seed with goodness. And I found that when you start affirming and you start, you know, putting up vision boards and start visually looking at things, because I'm a very visual person. So changed my, you know, my desktop screensaver and my phone screensaver, and puts, you know, some images and things around to make me stay on track, so I don't go back into the negative mindset or back, you know, down the rabbit hole of past beliefs. So to have all of that. But what happens as well is you start catching yourself, though, when you then start thinking or saying things that are not right, which is awesome. You know, when you get to that point of awareness, that's great, because you can go, well, hold on a sec. No, I don't think like that. No, I actually don't believe that, you know, and you'll actually start to catch yourself, which is really awesome. But it is a muscle, and you do have to strengthen it. So it's an ongoing thing.
Oh,
so Sandy,
totally.
so just before, we've got 4 minutes before we go. So if we are sitting here right now, okay, and we go, right now, there's some people over here, perhaps their business has been affected, or even their home life, but their home life, their business has been affected with COVID, working from home or homeschooling, or just the bullshit of having to conform right now to the bullshit of the C word. You know, from a mindset perspective, or what advice would you give them for anyone who's struggling right now? What would be sort of the one thing that you say, look, just go and do that today. And if you do that right, that should really, will do it well, or do it consistently, you should get a better result, or should feel better.
I think the one thing I'd say is get really clear on how you want your life to be. Just get really clear on what makes your heart sing. Write out a list, because understand that the universe, if you've just got one thing on your list, like that's just one thing, and it's hard to kind of really get excited if you only got one thing. If you've got dozens of things, the universe, depending on the time and what's going on, the universe has so many things to pick from, so many things to bring to you. So write a list of all the things that make your heart sing, all the things that you've always wanted, dreamed of, desired, and every day read through that list and get excited as if it's on its way to you already. And then take a moment to actually imagine that you've manifested some of those things, and really put yourself in the feeling place of it. Because your feelings, the bottom line is that your feelings are the things that create. Without the feelings, if you're just thinking and you're just taking action, you may get some result, but it's your feelings that create things very fast. And I think that's why, for me personally, I've been able to create quite quickly and quite successfully, is because I almost have that side of my brain that you might say is just being stupid or putting your head in the sand. But for me, I believe that it's a really good trait, is that I kind of believe that anything is possible. Like, I don't let people tell me something can't be done. I just don't allow that. And actually, it's interesting. Recently, I had my human design report done, and it very much says that that's who I am. I am someone, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what's not possible, because I'll find a way. But the best thing about my human design is it says I have a prosperity gate. And anyone that comes into my vicinity, my orbit, my community, but is basically into, you know, my orbit of what I do, they will achieve success. They will go on to attract and resolve things in their life. So it's like, oh my gosh, I am just doing the one thing in life I should be doing, because just by me being me, I'm helping other people around the world to completely transform their life. So for you right now, the thing you need to do is write that list of all the things you want to be and do and have, and just focus on that every day, and just get excited and just know that the universe is waiting to create miracles in your life.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know one of the things that I did when I first started out and I had this health, wellness and fitness center, you know, imposter syndrome came in and I was like, oh, it's me and I don't want to put my fees up. But now like I have this facility and I've got to put my fees up because I've got this facility and I'm giving a service and I really care about people. So one of the things I did was I wrote down all the successes that people had and I read all their testimonials and I kept it all in a folder for me. So every time I had that little monkey on my shoulder going, imposter syndrome, you know, you're not worthy of being paid or money, or that started sneaking in, I would read through those and go, well, that's not so. So, you know, awareness and then find something else to do it. Now, Jules has asked me to share the practices that I go through. So as part of Sandy's book, it actually takes you through a like a sequence of things. So I went through the sequence of everything in the book. Now what I do is whenever I have to tap into any of those different things, I'll tap into it. So if I, you know, particularly going through a bad time with this, I'll go, well, I probably need that now. And maybe that's happened because, you know, I've done the book twice now. But you can, Sandy Forster's actually got her own podcast. So you can go into Wildly Wealthy podcast and have a look at that. There's free resources on the website as well. But my personal thing that I do is when I'm styling, you know, when you've been at your desk and you've been working for a very long time and it's like you're working, and then you kind of catch yourself and go, hold on, I'm actually finished working. Like there's actually nothing more I need to do right now. Well, I can go declutter. I can go walk. I can go for a walk by the beach. I can actually step away from that now. Like I'm actually done. You know, I don't have to stay there. I can step away and go and walk the dog. We'll go to the water. The water for me is very good. So go to the water, or I can sit down and dream and write in the journals. There's a couple of different things. So walking, just quiet time, just stepping away, meditate, not really meditation. For me, it's just asking myself questions, dreaming or envisaging, you know, scrapbooking. I love written affirmations and having them around. And I've got Sandy Forster's abundance. I think there's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. So depending on my walk, I'll go and I'll listen to those abundance. And part of that, I actually envisage money coming from the sky down towards me. And then I imagine all my genius and my goodness going out to everyone else. And like Sandy hasn't told me to do that, but that's what I have envisaged through the course of what we've been through. So when I'm walking and I'm doing the abundance, it's like, well, I've got to feel the money coming in. I've got to feel my genius go, you know, that being beneficial and going out as well and helping more people.
And the thing is, there are so many things you can do. There's like my book, How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast. I think someone was asking about that. So the book is How to Be Wildly Wealthy Fast. There's 2 editions. The latest one actually has my face on it. The other one this is the older edition, in case you're wondering. The new edition has my face on it. But in that book, it's dozens and dozens of different things you can do. And like Chantal said, she does lots of different things, but you don't have to do everything every day. As long as you're doing something every day that makes you feel that it's possible and that what you desire is on its way and it gets you excited and you feel grateful about it, that's it. You don't have to do lots. The reason the book has dozens and dozens of different processes and exercises is because me personally, I get bored quickly. So if I just had affirmations as a thing to do, after a couple of weeks, I might get over that. And it's all about feelings. You've got to feel the excitement, feel the gratitude, feel the possibilities, feel the expectation. So if I was just doing the same thing all the time, I'd get bored. I wouldn't have the feeling, and the feeling is what creates, so I wouldn't create. So that's why I came up with dozens and dozens of different things that you can do. But realistically, you only need to do one. And what works for Chantal isn't necessarily going to work for you. It's how you feel. You might say, oh, well, Chantal's doing affirmations. I've got to do them. And you start to say your affirmations and you kind of feel a bit, then that's not your process. It's like, look at all the different things you can do. And the one that makes you feel like, oh, excited and a bit of butterflies on the inside, that's what you need to do. And that's why, as I said, my book is filled with dozens and dozens of different things to do, because you might be like me and you need to kind of switch things up, do something different. Try this day, that the next day, might do the same thing for a week or 2 or 3, but then you want to switch it around. So it's really about what feels good for you. because the feelings are what create.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. As Selena has asked, what do you do with your old dream boards? So stressed about throwing them away.
Oh, take photos, digital photos. I take photos of everything and I keep that. Yeah, definitely. Because it's
Excellent.
great also for your before and after story. It's great to show people like this is what I was dreaming of and this is what's happened in my life. So yeah, definitely just take a photo, store it.
Yeah, excellent. And I did that. I did that with the Fit Hub, and then I've done it again with this business. And I just wrote words out on colorful paper, and then I just stuck them like underneath the stairs. I've just kind of stuck them everywhere, so I can kind of every time I open the cupboard up, I can see them. But when you go back and you look at it like a year or 2 years later, I'm like, I did that. I did that. I did that. Oh my gosh! Like, and you know, it's so
it's so exciting. It's so motivating,
yeah.
Isn't it? I remember finding a piece of paper that said, I was really mad. I was so mad. And when I'm mad at the universe, I call the universe God. So there's this letter saying, "Dear God, I want to make $30,000 a year, and I want to make it now. And I want to, and I like, it was a very short letter, and I signed it, and I was so mad. And I found this letter, and my goal was to make $30,000 a year. And so far, my best month has been $433,000. So it's like, my dream was 30,000. Like that was double what I was making. So it seemed like a fortune, $30,000 a year. And I've made that in, less than a day. So, the universe can just do all sorts of amazing things. You just got to be really clear on what you want and get excited and understand that